How's everybody doing? People been getting on me this past week looking for another DeVeaux Speaks, and I promised one a week. And there's been a lot happening, but I'm gonna go to this past weekend and these two mass shootings, leaving 31 people dead. And people ask what was my thoughts, and this is very sensitive. Loss of life. I like to be careful what I say, but on DeVeaux Speaks, I gotta be authentic. I gotta speak my truth. And I gotta tell you, I don't have much faith in Republican lawmakers. I hate for making a political video, but it does appear to be one side wants some type of common sense gun reform so that we don't have automatic weapons up in our schools, in our malls while we're shopping. And the other side seems beholden to the NRA, the National Rifle Association. And, I think I can bring this back to a lesson for young people. Be careful who you take money from, because with their money comes their influence. I remember I had a talk with Kiara. She graduated a couple of years ago. Kiara, you remember I told you that boy kept wanting to give you money. I said, stop taking money from that boy. You can make your own money. She's like, oh, well, he gives it to me, I'm taking it. Be clear, people are not giving their money unless they want some type of influence, unless they want something in return. Very, very few just charitable people out there. And I also know that once you compromise your morals, it becomes easier to do it again and again. You start a diet and, you're giving up a certain food. Once you break that and taste that food once, it's going to be easier to do again. You're trying to be faithful to your partner. Once you break it once, the second and third time, it's going to be much easier. Once you do, ask any soldier or a police officer, that first kill, maybe need some counseling, some therapy, talk it out. But after a while, it gets easier and easier. For many people, nothing's 100%. But once you take money from an organization, and after you see people getting shot up in a school, in a mall, at a concert, and you get out there and you're like, oh, our thoughts and prayers go with you, and it's not, guns that kill people, people kill people. And you start saying these stupid slogans and taglines while people are dead, while mothers are dead, fathers are dead, children are dead. You're talking about your thoughts and prayers is all you can offer, but you can't do any legislation to prevent it from happening again to the next family. Once you do something stupid like that, something immoral like that, it's going to become easier and easier. You just lose your soul and your compassion to it. Don't forget, people say, well, don't be negative. What happened, Brother DeVeaux? You're usually a positive, optimistic guy. Yeah, I am. But I remember Sandy Hook. And I remember those babies dying. And a lot of white babies. We know they neighborhoods of color, people been dying all the time. And they could care less about gun reform. But white children were being killed, murdered, shot up in their classroom trying to learn. And those Republican lawmakers got out there and said a whole bunch of BS and did nothing. And they didn't do anything the next time, and they didn't do anything the time after that, and they're not going to do anything this time. I hate to tell you, they're beholden. NRA, millions of dollars get out. The only chance is you got to vote these guys out and demand people come in there who aren't going to take money from organizations who benefit from the selling of guns. That's all it is to it. And I'll take it off the political thing, Democrat, Republican. I don't care if you're voting a Republican guy, but you better make sure that he's not taking any money from the NRA. They give millions of dollars to send these politicians out because they make money off selling guns. Just breathe on that for a second. The organization makes money off selling guns. And they're not just trying to shoot deer or raccoon or squirrels. They're selling guns that are to kill humans. and they profit off that. And they give a grade to politicians to let other people know. Let's just think about that. People are like, oh, well, hunting is a right and it's a sport of my family. All right, thank you, but to stop the BS. I'm too old. Ain't nobody shooting deer with AK-47s. No one's taking automatic rifles to go out and shoot some squirrels. All right, so if you want your little one-shot rifle and it's a sport and it's an activity, all right, I'm not into shooting animals. That's your thing. Go for it. But don't tell me that you're shooting automatic rifles, shooting a bullet a second because you're a hunter. Yeah, you're a hunter. You're a hunter of human beings. Those people that walked up in the mall and shot people, they were hunting. They were hunting humans. Right? So if you're giving your money to an organization that supports hunting humans, just be honest with yourself. We just got to stop the BS and be true. No organization ever gave me $1 million to talk about their political views. I hope I would be strong enough to still stick with my morals. But be clear, these lawmakers, especially these Republican lawmakers, the NRA, National Rifle Association, is giving millions of dollars to these guys. And you think because your child was shot dead, they're going to say, oh, forget those millions. I need to do something to protect the people. They don't care about you. They care about that money in their pocket. So if you really want to do something, you got to reform a whole lot of things. Maybe reform the money that comes in from organizations to politicians. Maybe politicians have to show, and that needs to be blatant, how much money they've taken when they take a vote. Like when they say their vote for gun reform, put on the bottom of the screen how much money they've gotten from the National Rifle Association. That'll be good. Let's see how your vote matches with how much money you got. Vote them out and vote in new people. I don't care, Democrat, Independent, Republican, vote in somebody and have them promise not to take money from organizations who benefit off selling guns that are used to kill humans. Right? That's all it really comes down to. And you know, hey, I meet a lot of people, been alive for a good number of years, almost half a century. And I come across people who are like, oh, I want gun reform, but I'm a proud NRA card-carrying member. Look, tell that BS to somebody else. All right, for real. I ran into a teacher. I was like, oh, I'm an NRA card-carrying member, but I want some better laws. Look, there's nothing proud about you giving money to the organization that uses that money to give the politicians so they can continue to sell guns of mass destruction to citizens to kill our children in malls. If you take your money out of there, if any friend of mine, give me a call and let me talk to you, because I'm gonna give you some reasons you need to withdraw your membership. There's not one sane person, there's not one moral person, there's not one person who cares about life of another human being who should be part of the NRA. There's no reason. If you want to have your little gun club or whatever, do is shoot, target practice, right? You don't need to give money to this organization. Right? The organization's primary goal is to make sure they can keep selling guns by paying politicians to prevent any gun legislation laws. That's it. And you being an NRA card-carrying members, you're supporting the organization that wants to put automatic rifles out on the street so somebody can go grab them and kill other humans. That's what you're doing. You're not, oh, the Constitution has my right to bear arms. Yeah, stop. Save the BS for somebody else. All right? Because the Constitution, ain't nobody was running up in any shopping areas then with automatic rifles and shooting people up because it didn't exist. And let's be clear about these constitutionalists and the right to bear arms. There was a lot of things that were going on at the beginning of this country. Stop the hypocrisy. Everything was so great. All right, don't forget, those laws are written by people who also owned slaves. Don't forget, those things, that Constitution stuff with people who didn't want their wives or their daughters to vote. All right, don't forget, those laws are written by people who wanted to consider black people 3/5 of a human, not even because they consider them any type of human at all, but they wanted more representation in the government, so they wanted to count them, though they couldn't vote or give them any rights. So all these people like, oh, the Constitution says. The Constitution is written by some flawed, racist men. Some may have been good men. I don't know them all personally, but I know you own slaves as property. That tells me a lot about you already. right? So, you know, you don't need to hold too much to what was written way back then. You need to make common sense decisions now. And if you think it's a good idea to give money and be proud that you're part of an organization whose main goal is just to give money to politicians so that they could stop any type of gun reform and we continue to have guns on the street, to murder children and murder people while they're shopping in the mall, and you proud about that organization, you don't need to talk to me. All right, I don't have time for foolishness like that. And anybody who thinks, I don't want to hear about people whining and crying about, oh, this death and loss of life is so senseless, and then you go right back and you vote for somebody who's gonna allow that to happen again, who's gonna do nothing to prevent it. I'm glad they hear the call now when people hear these Republican governors and politicians speaking and people are saying do something. Ain't nobody want to hear your words. When people lost a family member, they lost a child, they lost a brother or sister, ain't nobody want your thoughts and prayers. Your thoughts and prayers aren't bringing anybody back. You better pass some legislation to prevent it to happening to the next family. And I hate to say this. I'm going to end on this note and be clear. I'm not promoting any violence on anybody. But I do know this. Karma is real. Chickens come home to roost. If you plant corn, you're going to get corn. You plant apple seeds, you're going to get apples. And if you plant death and violence, be clear it's going to come back to you. And it's coming more and more often. You talk about, oh, remember that mass shooting in the last 2 years? People are going to be like, oh, which one? It's just commonplace in our country now. And all you Republican lawmakers and congressmen and senators who think you're so far removed. I'm in my gated communities. I'm over here. I'm safe. And so I'm not going to care about citizens who are being murdered when they're just trying to go to school or they're just trying to go to the mall. Sorry about that. You know, just be clear. It's going to affect your family soon. And when it affects your loved ones, when it's your child, your spouse, your parents, and people, and all you have to offer is thoughts and prayers, just think about all the money, the millions you got from the NRA, and hold your dead child and grandchild, and just make a decision, was it worth it? Because all those millions ain't going to bring them back. That's for sure. So make that decision. It's going to come to you. I've been alive long enough where people are like, oh, those drugs were in that community, we're not going to do nothing. And then all of a sudden it goes to a different community. It's like, oh my gosh, we need to do something. We need to pass laws. Okay. You know, oh, these women over here are being abused and discriminated. Nothing's happening for years. Oh no, these women are being abused. Oh, we need to do something. We need to create a movement. Okay. These citizens over here, they're getting shot up in malls. They're getting shot up in their schools. You don't want to do anything? Your children and grandchildren go to schools too. Your family go to malls too. And the chickens will come home to roost. So I suggest you stop taking that money from these unethical and immoral organizations and do the right thing before it affects you. All right. That's the DeVeaux Speaks for this morning. Have a blessed day. Be safe.